here we go.
Chasing gold. This game's ours, it's ours to hold. One shot left, one play to run. Make it count under the setting sun. It's game time grind. All or nothing on the line. Push through the pain. Leave it all in the rain. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. It's game time grind. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find. Victory's ours to find.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a brand new episode of Game Time Grind. I'm your host, Ali the Persian, and we got Steve in the house. Mystic is late as usual. It's an everyday thing now that he's a celebrity, but that's okay. That's all right. We digress. We keep moving forward. How's it going, Steve? How was your weekend?
It's going good, man. Finally back to full strength, hitting the grind hard.
Yeah, man. I had a hell of a week last week, man. I had, jury duty hit, and then all of a sudden I get hit with this like crazy, like cold / sinus infection / ear infection all at once. I'm not even over it still, and it's been like 2 weeks now. It sucks. So I'm feeling a little bit better, and I didn't want to hold the show any longer. So I was like, let's do it today. So I'm gonna keep battling through it, but it is what it is, We got a lot of news to talk about, a lot of college football. Today we're gonna be talking about the road to the combine, right? Some players I'm excited to talk about. I know you got a list of players. I got a list of players we'll talk about. Today we're gonna primarily talk about the defensive linemen / edge / linebackers. Right? That's what we're going to be talking about mostly. I know Mystic, when he arrives, wants to talk about some of the other players for day 2 of the combine. But I don't know if we want to hold off on that. We'll see how things go. But we'll get through most of it today. If you're new to the show, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel. We have about 60 followers now. We're trying to get to 100. The moment we get to 100, we're going to have a giveaway. So I can't wait for that. But make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you're brand new, turn on the notification bell, help the channel grow. And share it with your friends. You have other people that like college football. Share it with your friends. We're trying to grow this community and start having more dialogue around college football. So, all right, Steve, where should we start? There's a lot of news in college football. Where do you think we should start?
I mean, I know we got the combine coming up, but there was some really big news drop today. I don't know if
Oh,
you
okay.
saw about
Uh-oh.
IMG.
Oh my lord. Hold up. This guy is starting to become a pain in my neck.
It's that time. Mystic in the building. Turn that on. Mystic. Mystic in the building. Turn that up. Mystic. We live, we violent. Crowd so loud, got the rival silent. Run that score up, ain't scared.
What is up, Mystic? Welcome to the show, late as usual.
Yeah, hey, it wouldn't be a good show if it wasn't at least 5 minutes late, right? That's how they know we're back, right? Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I'm not messing around. You're not a pain in my neck, man. I know you're busy fighting crime in the spaces, shutting people down. It's all good, bro. It's all good.
Hard knock life out here, you know? Oh.
Yeah, he has to take his superhero costume off just to get on the show. That's what takes him so long.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but you just came right at the right time. We're talking about all the news that's in college football. Steve, you were mentioning something big happened with IMG.
Yeah, so IMG was fined $1.7 million because they were found to have been using drug money from a Mexican cartel to fund their school.
Yes, they had over I think it was 80 donations, not donations, but transactions that were related to a cartel. Legitly, it was a lot. I was very surprised about that too. I wonder. I know it's probably going to hurt the school, I wonder how much of that though really affected their football program. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, when you can pay people, it gets people to your schools. I mean, is that not the way of life these days?
This is true. This is true. I mean, wasn't there that big scandal or some famous celebrity? I want to say it was, and don't quote me on this, but I want to say she was from some TV show and she was big and she got caught up in a scandal where she was, they were paying schools to let their kids go there or something like that. Like
Yes.
recruiting scandal or something. I forget what it was. I know it happened a couple years back though.
Yeah, that was totally a thing, and that was pretty wild, too.
Yeah. It's but drug money though? Come on, man. I mean, the most recent scandal that happened in I want to say high school football or even anything close to college football that's kind of like this. There was that whole thing with God, what's his name? Our former quarterback.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater, yes. Teddy Bridgewater was helping kids out with rides back and forth to practice and whatnot. And they also had he asked the school basically for money to be able to fund the whole program and everything. And they ended up suspending him. And everyone thought that was so bad of him to do. Oh my God. That was nothing. Taking drug money though? Come on, dude. We're in the world of sports. How can you not get real, credible, legit money? Why are we getting ourselves involved with cartels? It's ridiculous. So
Honestly, I'm not really too surprised by it. We live in a world of world of toxicity, if you will. No one wants to do it the old-fashioned way, the right way. They build it from the ground up. People want to find shortcuts any way they can. They don't even care, obviously, if it's a mafia, funding the program. It's wild to think that you would put a program, kids, and anyone in a situation to be in the line, potentially line of fire from, a cartel situation. Like what? I don't. Yeah, that dumbfounds me. But nothing surprises me again in the world that we live in, man. It's always you think you know, and then you find the next one up. You know, like it's always some scandal somewhere, and at the end of the day, it's I tell people, you know, when there's humans involved, you'll always have flaw, and unfortunately, there's tons of flaw when it comes to money.
Yep. Yep. Speaking of this segment, I'm calling it "What in the World" because you think that's crazy. What I'm about to tell you also happened this week, or has been found to have happened. Michigan players were caught hotboxing in the locker room. That was crazy. I know some people think I'm being biased because of the website that released the video or whatever, but it was legit video. And it even caused, from what I understand, it forced certain players that were involved or parts of the program to have to put out an apology. So it's not like they denied that it happened. Um, Crazy. I think of hotboxing I want to think of like Laramie Tunzel wearing the gas mask. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
His
but it's like
long mask. That's what that reminds me of, kind of. I'm like, you guys
Or
are
Dan Marino getting accused of doing cocaine in the locker room.
just, I guess maybe they didn't, maybe they were worried that the Jets were going to have the number one pick again, with all the number one
dude,
picks they have. I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. I know we're talking NFL a little bit here with the Jets and Dan Marino and stuff, but we're just talking about this is college kids. In fact, Bryce Underwood is a sophomore in college football now, right? That he's going into his sophomore season, and you've already got yourself kind of entwined with these types of scandals, let alone all the other scandals that Michigan has been tripping over left and right. You know what I mean? With the sign stealing, with the healthcare system hacking by their coach, with all the inappropriate pictures of students, male and female. Just going to point that out. That got arrested by the FBI. What else happened? Oh, their coach decided to, which was in court today or yesterday, and there was a whole video and shebang about it. But Sharon Moore had his day in court. And from my understanding, they went into a little bit more detailed about what happened, how it happened, and what the victim said, and what he was actually alleging he was going to do and whatnot. That whole situation is crazy. You fire him for certain, like having some type of an inappropriate work relation, and then he turns around and breaks into that person that made the accusation into their house and threatens to harm himself and stuff. The whole situation is weird. It's weird. And in the fact that Michigan, this is another, mud pie in the face to Michigan. That's what I'll call it. When does the buck stop, Mystic? When does this whole thing end? They brought the guy from Utah, right? The former Utah coach,
yeah,
right? And you thought he was going to have everybody on lockdown. Listen, we're going to be straight up professional. We ain't going to be playing games and stuff. And it's just more and more games are just coming out. Like, to be honest, does it ever end for Michigan? Will it ever end? Is my question.
sounds like they're professionally over here trying to take some puffs, in the locker room. Sounds like they're preparing for the the smoke Olympics. No, that's just wild to me, man. Like, out of all the things you could do, like keep it at home, keep it in your own, your personal space. Do what you want to do within the confinements of your home and stuff. Whatever, cool. Props to them. But like when it rolls into being at college and your what you potentially want your profession to be of turning into a professional football player, that doesn't make you look good. That kind of questions if you actually really want to do this or not.
Yeah, that is the question, right? The other thing that happened, they're setting a new precedent with the whole college football eligibility. Um, there's the quarterback that I think Mystic kind of fell in love with in the college football playoff from Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss, right? I think that's how you say his last name. I apologize if I screwed that up. Um, he's been going back and forth with the NCAA trying to get an extra year of eligibility. From what I saw, they denied him, and now there's a federal judge that said he's been granted, and the NCAA can't block it. It's been like he said, she said stuff. There's new evidence that Ole Miss brought into the case, and it's been kind of a weird turn. It just feels like college football is starting to become more. I don't want to, it's almost like night court. Like every year or every other day, there's some court case going on. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like we're living in court cases rather than on the football field.
What's up with all these Van Wilder type dudes?
Like, what do you mean?
Like these dudes that want to be in college their whole life.
It is weird. Like, there's been several seasons. There was the guy from Miami. Remember, he was there like 9 years.
And there's a guy at Montana that just got his 9th year accepted. Like, dude, go do something else with your life.
Isn't there a Samoan kid too that he's like a linebacker that's he's at the same school as his brother? I can't remember off the top of my head, but like the kid's on like his 6th, 7th year or something like that, and the dude's like 27 years old.
Yeah, for me, it's this. For me, it's like, are you a doctor? Because you better be a damn doctor at this point of how long you've
100%.
been. That's what I gotta say. And if you're not a doctor, who else goes to school that long? Veterinarians or something? Or do you have your master's degree by now? Something. You know, you got to give me like something besides an associate's degree or not being graduated at all at this point because you've been in school for so long. That was something interesting too. Carson Beck signed with Miami, right, to play for Miami this past season. And I read somewhere that he didn't go to school at all. Like there was no classes that he had to take or anything. How does that work?
He'd already been graduated. I'm pretty sure. Like what?
He graduated from Georgia. Yeah.
So my question to you is, how can I play for a college school if I've already graduated and don't need to take any classes? How does that work? Like I'm asking seriously. This is a serious question. I'm not trying to troll. Not trolling Miami or anything. I know the Miami fans in the audience are probably like, "Oh, you're just trolling, Ali." No, I'm not trolling. No,
I'm actually with you too. I'm actually with you too in the sense of like, how does it all work? Because like, you've already went for 4 years and did your stuff and graduated. Like, how do you get extra years of eligibility? I know there's like obviously, like medical things and we're getting red shirts and like, but it's like, how do these dudes get 6, 7, 8, 9 years?
Well, yeah, I get that, but I'm just talking about like, you think about it. If you're in college, that means you should be taking college courses alongside being a college athlete. Why are you like? I could understand like if maybe, let's say, you the semester during football season that you don't take classes because you want to save that for the spring and whatnot. You know what I mean? Because it's during the season. I get it.
Answer?
Go ahead.
Because of COVID.
Is that what it is?
He was granted an extra year because he was a part of the COVID kids.
No, but that wasn't my question, Steve, though. That's not my question. Like, I get why.
Why they allowed him to play even though he wasn't a student. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I see what you're saying now.
An extra year to play because he was a part of the COVID class. So even though he had graduated from college, he was able to enroll as a student. He just didn't pick up classes. And then the NCAA allowed him to use that extra year to play for Miami.
That's just crazy. Okay, well, how do we figure out these 9-year starters then? How do these guys get 9 years in the college? Damn it, I need to know.
Yeah, that I can't answer. But for Carson Beck, I knew the answer because I looked that up after we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. It's like I said, like Ollie just said, like you better be going and trying to be a doctor, and you just really have fun playing football or something, because like I don't understand why you're trying to play football for 8, 9 years in college. Like, what do you just want to be like a super college legend or something for Montana or for some place you want to play forever? I don't know, man. It's crazy. I mean, shout out to them for doing it. You know, you're having fun living your life, but like I said, there's a I don't know, man. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely interesting, to say the least. Some other news, and Steve and I will like this news. Um, it's been really interesting how this I would say the draft like capital, not draft capital, I shouldn't say that, but how like the draft stock of some of these college football players are starting to shape up. And they haven't even had the combine yet. But Caleb Downs, who you've been in these spaces with us, Mystic, you've had the arguments. Is he
Generational.
generational?
Oh,
Not generational. Is he a top 5 pick? Not a top 5 pick. It's interesting enough. So NFL mock draft database projects has the Washington Commanders taking him at number 7. However, ESPN's Field Yates, you know who Field Yates is,
yes, sir.
is even more bullish on the safety. He has him going to the New York Giants at number 5. In fact, Walter Football, which if you don't know who Walter Football is, go to walterfootball.com. I actually like the information they have there. I trust their information and their thoughts. They have him going at number 5 as well to the Giants as well. Wow. Just saying, the last time we had someone go that high at safety was at number 6, I think. And it was like 2000. I think we looked it up, 2017. Am I right about that? Something like that, I think it was.
Nice.
I don't know. Is he a top 5 pick? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think it's interesting how he we haven't had the pro day. We haven't had the combine. And he's already, climbing that ladder already. Kind of interesting. I can talk about safeties, not today, but a different day.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Any other news that you guys can think of that we can talk about before we move on to the combine?
Well, there was one. It will be a nice little transition into the combine.
Okay.
One of the top tackles, Isaiah World from Oregon, broke his ankle during the college playoff game.
Crazy.
And I found the video of it.
Ugh.
So he will not be participating, even though he was invited to be a part of the combine. He was a second-round pick projection before the ankle injury. So we'll see if he falls on the boards.
Very, very interesting. That's going to be really interesting to see what happens there and, if he falls or not. So let's get into the combine. And I have some information I want to go over first, kind of give everyone a layout of the NFL combine. Just give me 1 second. I had this information up, but I'm going to bring it up again. All right. So the combine is officially Thursday, February 26th through Sunday, March 1st at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, as it's held every year, right? Usually the combine is anywhere between 3 to 4 days. This year it's between Thursday, February 26th through Sunday, March 1st. We will be opening up Thursday, February 26th with place kickers, defensive linemen, and linebackers. You can watch coverage of the combine from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. either on the NFL Network, and I believe also ESPN might have some stuff going on as well. Drills for the combine starts at 3 p.m. Eastern, just so you guys know that. Just kind of give you guys some background. Today we're going to talk primarily. We decided about the defensive linemen, linebackers, edge is also included in that. We'll be talking about that. So, how do you guys want to start? Do you guys just want to throw out a player and we'll talk about them, each one of them, as we go?
I think I want to start with just going through linebackers, and then I think we should go through the defensive line edge after that.
Sounds good. I got a linebacker we can talk about, but why don't you start us off, Mystic?
It's so funny that you say I should start it off because funny enough, the top of my list, because I tried to be not so front end heavy. I tried to find a guy that I think you'll see go in the first round, and then I tried to find maybe third to fifth round, and then a late round guy, right? So my first round pick, we all been talking about him. The more I look into the guy, the more I do research on him. His versatility to be able to play multiple positions at the linebacker level. He can cover running backs. He can cover tight ends. Very high football IQ. Like, I'm so stoked for the guy. Sonny Styles. 6'4", 234. Safety, linebacker hybrid, obviously. At Ohio State, got way better at linebacker. Projected first-round pick. I don't think he gets out of the first round, in my opinion. There's just, like I said, so many things you can do with him. I'd love to have him, on a rebuild situation. How we're looking down in Miami. I'd absolutely love to have the guy.
All right, interesting. Sonny Styles, I like the pick, right? I like the prospect. Definitely a for sure tackler. I want to say at one point, we saw that he had like 100%. It was 100% win rate. Yeah, it was crazy. It was something crazy. 6'4", about 243 pounds. He's definitely a modern linebacker. I like him. What do you think, Steve?
He did not miss a tackle until Mark Fletcher.
Yep.
Interesting.
Let that settle in. No, I love the guy. He is everything you want in a middle linebacker, from the size to the speed to the strength to crash out, all of it. Like, he's a crash out, but he's smart, and he has a good feel for zone runs. Like, if you went to the college board of players and said, here's what I want in a player at middle linebacker, build me a mold, this is what would pop out of it. Love it.
So my NFL comp for him, and I might get some hate for this, but I think he's a modern day more like athletic version of this, Fred Warner.
That's what a lot of people have been saying. I've heard that a lot. I'd say the only two things that I've heard people kind of maybe be down on him, potentially how you used him. Not necessarily. People don't think he'll be a good overload, like outside blitz guy. And they're concerned with just drafting his position high. Investing a high round in a middle linebacker type thing. Again, I'm all for it, dude. I get it, but I understand the concern for that. But again, like we talked about, just everything you want in a linebacker.
Yeah, definitely. I completely understand. I know this kid from sideline to sideline. He's really good. What else can I say about him? His zone coverage instincts are really good. He matches up well. Clean open field tackler, versatile, gives defensive coordinators options. They don't have to he's not like a one side of the ball type of guy. You can line him up in different areas in the gap and whatnot. They can do a lot of different things with Sonny Styles. So, I like the guy. I like the prospect for anybody, for any team, to be honest.
But
You got any final thoughts, Steve? Any more final thoughts on Sonny Styles?
Nope.
No. Okay. Steve, why don't you throw out a player? I guess we're doing linebackers first.
Okay. I'll hit one that nobody's even talking about from BYU, Jack Kelly. This is a kid who's multi-dimensional from the middle to the edge. Last season, he had 10 sacks as a pass rusher. Just last season alone. Nobody's talking about him. He's small, which is why he's gonna fall to probably the late second, early third. He's coming in at 6'2", 242. So he has the weight, but the height is a little missing. But you're talking about a guy who had 14 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 55 tackles, and 10 sacks. Like this kid, I think he could hit a little harder for my taste in middle linebacker, but that kid is going to be a stud in this league, and he may be a nice steal with how much he's riding under the radar. And I know you two with your Big Ten football. That one's for y'all.
What do you think? What do you think, Mystic?
I like it. Just looking up the guy, to your point, 10 sacks in 24, 13 and a half sacks in 25, got better as they, put him in those positions. You like to see something like that. People are saying potentially this could be one of those sleeper picks in this league. High-end closing speed, very physical presence, high motor play style. Those are all things that sound great to me. Man. I'm all for it, dude. I'm all for it. BYU. So he's smart, high IQ.
And he's not just a downhill player. His pass coverage is chef's kiss.
Jack Kelly is the guy you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Is not somebody I was talking about because I didn't think about him. To be honest, I think I'm gonna have to look him up and maybe do some research on him, to be honest.
Looks like he had 61 run stops over 2 seasons as well. So it sounds like he's a complete edge. He can set that edge. He can, go around and get you those sacks if he needs. Like that's good stuff. Looks like very effective at blitzing as well. So
yeah, and that's why I
to pay
said
attention to.
He is the definition of versatile. You could line him up as edge. You could line him up at middle. My comp for how he plays is the linebacker that the Eagles took from Alabama last year.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I can't think of his name at the second. It just escaped my mind. Second.
Well, in that case, I'm debating on who I want to throw out there because I have 2 players I could technically. I think I'm gonna go out to the guy that I'm kind of excited about, to be honest, and no one's really talking about him, and I think he's going to be anywhere. He's going to be like a late day 2, maybe early day 3 kind of guy, to be honest. And I think this guy is going to be, how do I say it? He's going to be one of those surprise of the draft where he ends up being like somewhat regular, productive kind of guy. Not necessarily a world beater, if you know what I mean, but a guy that I think is going to be able to produce and be put into the game in special different ways. And that is Lander Barton out of Utah. Lander Barton. Ooh. Let's talk about Lander Barton for a moment. And let me bring up some information on him. Landon Barton plays for Utah, plays linebacker. He is 6'5", 236 pounds, right? Mm-hmm. He's built like your modern day linebacker, but he has some special qualities about him. I'm going to start off with my favorite quality of him, and that's his hands, believe it or not. He has some of the best catching hands I've seen from a linebacker standpoint. Um,
Ooh.
this guy, in fact, at Utah, and when I was watching tape on him, I got confused for a moment. I thought I had the wrong player because the very first couple highlights were all on the offensive side of the ball. They had this guy lined up as a tight end, wing tight end type of player, sneaking out into the back and catching balls in the end zone. And he caught several of them and was used on the offensive side several times. So I know he has the right size and could maybe be played at tight end at any given moment, to be honest. I don't know if he would be a good, I would say, I don't know if he's a good inline blocking tight end at all. Haven't really seen tape on that. But I will say, watching him run routes, catching the ball, never taking his eyes off the ball and everything, I was kind of excited about it. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball because that's where he lives. This kid in coverage is amazing. He has very fluid hips. He has the ability to, be able to keep up with both the running backs and tight ends, no problem in coverage. As I said, great catching ability. That means he can definitely intercept the ball very easily as well. His tackling no worries. You don't have to worry about him getting his hands dirty. He'll even, play along the line, go after the QB. Once he gets his hands on you, if he gets a hand on you, you're going to go down. Doesn't matter how hard, but you're going down, right? That's the type of player he is. Sideline to sideline, elite short distance quickness. That's what he has. I really like the kid. Lander Barton's kind of a tongue twister. What else can I say about him? High football acumen. I already told you about his sideline to sideline range. Excels in space as coverage backer, showing fluid hips and the ability to match patterns with both tight ends and running backs. Big game performer who elevates his play against top competition. I like that. Hearing the fact that when it's a big game, he's going to play a big game. He's going to elevate his game against the better the better offenses and better teams. I'm not looking at him as a first round pick, definitely not. But if you could catch him in the third round, I think that would be a really good pick. And he's versatile. Like I said, you could use him in certain schemes in the offense. Maybe it's in the red zone, for a touchdown or whatever. Go watch his tape. I like what I saw, and he has good size too.
Listening to what you're saying, just doing a quick little, research to see what this dude's about. Like everything that you're saying, obviously that large frame, 6'5", looks like he has 33-inch arms. That's insane. I'm totally down with that. You need that when you're covering tight ends, running backs, things of that such. Looks like people are saying his play style is similar to Tremaine Edmonds and Jack Campbell.
Yeah,
Sign me up.
Sign me up.
Looks like maybe a weakness. It looks like they're saying he needs to add a little bit of muscle. He usually has maybe some issues with the interior offensive linemen, shedding blocks, things of that such, and run fits. But other than that, I mean, again, it sounds like this is going to be one of those linebackers you pay attention to, in the sense of you want to add a guy who, maybe in a year or two is going to be, a key contributor on defense. I'd say look out for this guy. He's definitely got some pop to him. Nice one to throw out there. Nice one to throw out there for sure.
One thing I'll say, and before I'll give Steve a chance. Go ahead, Steve. Do you have any thoughts on him before I give some final thoughts?
I don't. I didn't know who he was before you mentioned him. Like, I had heard the name, but I didn't know a whole lot about him. So that's something I'm gonna have to look up.
So some things to know about him. He's definitely from a football family. All right. From my understanding, he has family members that played for Utah, specifically, and played in the NFL. He also is a two-sport athlete. He actually plays basketball as well. He played basketball in high school. Overall, I think that he was a 4-star recruit. I think he definitely has a lot to offer. He may not be your pass rushing linebacker that's going to go after quarterbacks and stuff like that. But for those defenses that have that zone scheme, or even defenses that, like to play in the coverage area, like having linebackers in coverage, I think this is your guy. Overall, like you said, you took my thunder a little bit with his 33-inch arms. I like what I saw. And yeah, definitely watch his tape when you get a chance. So definitely. All right, Mystic, who else you got? Who else you want to talk about linebackers?
All right. We're at the mid round, guys. I like it. So another big dude. This is one of the bigger linebackers that I've seen. Definitely a raw talent from what I'm seeing. That's what people are saying. Probably is potentially this guy's weakness is he's going to be one of those maybe projects, but has everything you want in a project. 6'6", 250, Vincent Anthony Jr. at a Duke. Excellent size and speed to power rush. They're saying the thing that he needs to really, again, continue to develop would be just adding more to his repertoire, with his pass rush skills. You see a lot of speed to power type thing. He can move guys, but they want to see him, swim more, maybe throw a spin in there. He just relies on his power way too much in that quick first step.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, again, like I said, 6'6", 250, dude, and you're telling me he's an outside linebacker? Like, sign me up. Like, I can develop a guy like that. You can do some serious things with a dude like that. And they're saying he's what? I can't remember what I saw. They're projecting, I want to say like a 4.6 or something, like 40 time around there for this guy or something like that, which for being that big, dude, holy shit. That's clipping for being that big.
This is Vincent Anthony, right? Vincent
Correct.
Anthony. I've checked that out. I'm writing him down right now.
Real quick, just because it was bugging me. Landon is Graham Barton's little brother.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I feel like he just had a member drafted, but I wasn't gonna say nothing.
Yeah, the center for the Bucks. His little brother is Landon Barton.
That makes sense.
Oh, the guy from Utah. Yeah. Doesn't he have a brother named Cody too, or something like that?
Yes. Yeah, Cody Barton.
Yeah. Football family, man. If it runs in the family, you gotta think about it. I just think, look, he's not gonna be like no first round pick unless he has like an amazing combine and it's just off the charts, right? But for me, I definitely could see maybe grabbing him in the third round for a team. I think he maybe late second at the very highest, but third round I think is a premium spot. But yeah, speaking of Vincent Anthony Jr., I like what I'm seeing here. I definitely like some, his size, for example. He's 6'5", 246 pounds, and I think 246 is right about the right size. 240 to 250. I think that's a good size for linebacker. I was also looking at some of his comparisons. They say he compares to like Miles Cole out of Texas Tech. I'll have to check into that. I'll have to look into this player. Seems interesting though.
People are just saying he's a really raw talent and kind of just one of those to watch at the combine. If he starts to flash at the combine, people think he could be, up in that second, third round type of thing. Right now, they're thinking 4th, 5th rounds.
Okay, so you just sold me, not you, but I just read something and it sold me. Motor runs hot from the snap to whistle, pursuing players across the field and finishing with violent intent. Sign me up. I like the violent intent. I'm a violent intent kind of guy. So I'll definitely take that. That's an interesting player to talk about. We're going to have to revisit this after the combine because I want to see how well he does with some of his measurables and stuff. What about you? Who do you have, Steve?
All right. Time for the guy that nobody's gonna want because he's absolutely too small to be playing linebacker. Tareen York, the Mike for Texas A&M, 5'10", 227. You want to talk about a guy sideline to sideline in coverage. He struggles with playing the run because of his size, but for a guy who would be your like coverage linebacker, this is that dude for me. His player comp was Ivan Pace with the Vikings.
Hmm.
Like that fucking kid can play sideline to sideline. Now, I don't think he's going to be an early pick. I don't even know if he'll go before the third round, but I think you could transition him to safety and he would fit in just fine as a safety. Like sometimes you get these guys that are way too small for their positions, but just this heat-seeking missile that make up for it. I don't think I've watched this guy get blown up. I'll tell you that. Every time I see him hit somebody, he's coming to take your head off. And that's what again, that's one of those things I look for in my middle linebackers. He does not play to his size and definitely I think could transition to safety if you really wanted to go that direction with him. I think you could snag a guy like this in like the fourth, fifth round, even though they haven't projected in the third. I think he could go even a little later.
Because of the size?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm reading that he's an exceptional tackler, shows juice as a blitzer, field commander. Interesting. Operates with controlled violence. Controlled violence. Tracks ball carriers, better coverage defender than metrics suggest. Very interesting. Any thoughts on that, Mystic?
Honestly, I haven't really heard much about the guy besides what I just heard in the sense of what you just told me. But I mean, if you're telling me we got a guy, if you can find one of those guys who's told you can't do something and they're really good at proving people wrong and being the best version of themselves, every time they step on that field because people told them they were too small, they weren't good enough. That's some Zach Thomas type shit. If we can find someone like that, not saying he's going to be that, not saying he is that person, just so y'all know, but it's those chip on the shoulder guys. We need those guys as much as you need those high character guys. You need those guys that want to go out there and prove people wrong every down, every week, every year type of thing. I wouldn't be opposed to it at all.
Hey, I see you, Tony. I get it.
Oh, what'd Tony say?
No more little guys.
I'm
No
with
more
it. I'm with
guys.
that though too. I mean, I wasn't out here promoting these little guys. I got big linebackers on my list.
Well, I have a linebacker that is a little guy, but kind of exactly what Steve said. I have a guy that I'm kind of interested in he has the body to be able to be like that hybrid linebacker safety type kind of guy. Right. I really, when I see him on the field, he reminds me of a safety a lot. And that's Kyle Lewis out of Pittsburgh. Kyle Lewis is 6 foot. Here it is, 6 foot, and he's like 224 pounds. But this kid is a tackling machine. He constantly has an eye for the ball, gets dirty, with his tackles. Coverage skills belong in a different tax bracket. That's what's being said verbatim. Rangy zone drops and can mirror tight ends vertically. Ball production jumps off the stat sheet. Sideline to sideline pursuit speed allows him to erase cutback lanes and chase down plays from the backside. Blitzy savvy, open field tackler. Overall, I think he's a really good prospect. He's very athletic, speedy, has long arms. And one thing that his NFL comparison, which was kind of interesting, was, and I apologize if I don't say this name correctly, Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa. You know who that is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And that
guy.
was actually really well done. Good job.
Thank you. Due to his elite coverage skills. That's something I saw that popped out to me with this linebacker. I'm gonna go ahead and call him a hybrid though, because I really think that he either will be like somewhat of a hybrid safety linebacker, or he'll just convert to safety. So that's why I wanted to shout out to him. But really has really good coverage skills, really good tackling. Overall, I liked what I saw on tape. Definitely has an eye to go after who he's trying to get. Eye where the ball's at all times. Yeah, overall, check out Kyle Lewis when you get a chance. Yeah.
I'm with you. I told you before the show, what last night or it was this morning.
Yeah.
I had done some research on Kyle Lewis. He just, I don't know, he just kind of caught my eye. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna look into this. To add more to the comparisons for you, some people have been saying that they see shades of Levante David at times from this kid, and he has a really close comparison to Terrell Bernard for the Bills as well. So something else to keep in mind. What I really like, this kid had 36.5% of snaps in 2025 in the slot. So as a linebacker, you were asked to be basically that slot guy, which is top among linebackers in this draft. Primary concern is he can be overpowered with those offensive linemen. Sometimes you see that with linebackers. It is what it is. A lot of people like his big splash, basically playability. Like he'll come in, you'll see him do some things, and then he'll make an impact play that really kind of gives you some momentum in the game, type of thing. Like that's what people are saying jumps off the tape at you. He's always where he needs to be. Very smart guy. Like I'm all for it, dude. I love people. I love these hybrids. I love the fact that we're getting these hybrid guys. Like Fred Warner coming into the league really kind of changed some things, and you're starting to see guys, get into that safety linebacker, be able to kind of do multiple things. Like I love to see it, dude. I'd love for us to land a guy like that. I got all great things to say about Kyle Lewis.
Yeah, I do too. They have him to be as of right now, and this is before the combine. They have him drafting projection around a 5th round draft pick, right? I'm gonna say with his elite speed and some of his tangibles that he has, especially what I think he's going to be able to do in the combine, he could be a late day 2 kind of guy or a very early day 3 kind of guy. That's kind of where I have him. So he's the guy to consider and looking at. You're trying to find one of these guys that, these athletic linebackers that are really good in coverage, kind of like a what's his name, Lander Barton that I've brought up earlier, right? Kind of like him. He's very athletic, really good in coverage and everything. Can definitely keep up with the running back and tight ends and whatnot. This is that kind of guy. This is that kind of guy that you want. I would say this guy's tackling ability is a little bit better than Landon Barton, but definitely a guy to watch. So definitely you want to check out his tape. You guys have anybody else? That was all my linebackers.
I got one more.
Oh, I do have one more too. You're right. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I was saying I do have one more, but
okay, perfect.
Because I kind of told Ali too. I kind of chose because I wanted to highlight guys that people just don't pay enough attention to see or may have questions because of who they are. Harold Perkins Jr. from LSU.
Ooh.
Again, another undersized linebacker, but I really want people to pay attention to how these guys play football. He racked up 4 sacks, a forced fumble, 55 tackles, 26 of them solo. This guy is an open field tackle machine.
He was someone I was considering.
They have him running a 4.40 at linebacker. Now, there's could he just be, the concerns for us anyways, that he ends up as the Georgia linebacker that's all muscle, all speed, but no no brains. No, this guy has a feel for every zone run you can think of. He's instinctual. He sees it. His problem is he's coming off an ACL injury and he's small. He's 222 pounds at 6'1". Now he could add weight. I think though he's 6'1", you could probably put another 20 pounds on him and he'd be just fine in the NFL. He's kind of a slender frame, but like wider. No, Tony, number 4, not number 7. But yeah, look into him. He plays with the speed that you want and the smartness you want from your middle linebacker.
Interesting. I'll have to look into him. I definitely was someone I was considering to look into, but I'm really interested. What do you got, Miss Hick? I know you had another guy. I have one more too, actually. 2 more, technically.
All right. So, it wouldn't be me if I didn't, bring up them Iowa boys, right? That's what I'm told these days in the streets as well. That's I gotta stick with it, right?
Sure.
So after a breakout senior season, 83 tackles, 42 solos, 4 tackles, and a forced fumble, you got Carson Carson Sherrar, 6'2", 235. They're currently saying, he's a 7th round guy, whatever, but again, you got to watch in the combine. He was basically like, the sounds of it, almost as important as the middle linebacker to Iowa's defense this year. I guess the way that he understood the scheme and where people needed to be, everyone kind of looked to him if they weren't quite sure where to be placement wise. He made sure everyone was lined up. Very high IQ guy. Went from being basically, one of their elite special teamers to an outside, weak side linebacker who basically started to flourish. Got a combine invite, and everyone's definitely watching him at the combine. They're thinking he's going to go up the draft boards for sure.
Carson Sherrar, you said, from Iowa?
Correct.
Trying to find him.
Carson with a K.
Yeah, with a K.
Yep, and then Sharrar.
Yeah, that's one site I like to use to get information. I don't see him there. I'm gonna have to look him up separately. I can do that, no problem. 6'2", 235 pounds.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. He had 83 total tackles, 41 assists, 4 sacks, 1 forced fumble.
That is correct.
Very interesting. I'll have to watch the tape. Definitely.
Yeah, and it looks like that was the first year that he actually started. Prior to that, he pretty much was just a special teams guy. And then got the green light, and it looked like in my opinion, had a really solid season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing I was known for is their defense. They definitely always usually have really good linebackers. So it's understandable why he couldn't get on the field, because probably other ones that were ahead of him as well. So
listen, there's something to linebackers that tackle.
That's
anytime you're doing any prospecting, there is something to linebackers who tackle. And that's what I look for. I look for how often they read the right gap, how often they make open field tackles, and how often you can hear them when they hit a running back.
Definitely. Well, I have one more regular linebacker. I technically have 2, but the other linebacker I have is more of an edge possible player, so I'll save him for when we talk about D-line. But the guy that I have is Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker out of Texas. The They think he's anywhere between a first and second round, more of a second rounder, but possibly a first round projection. He's from Denton, Texas. That's where he grew up. Definitely, I love his tackling ability. Exceptional sideline to sideline range. Runs downhill with violence and bad intentions. That's what caught my eye. Bad intentions. All right. I love the what do you want to call it, Mystic? The juggernaut sluggers. I like the real hard-hitting sluggers of the NFL.
Yes, sir.
When you talk about violence, bad intentions, mean thoughts, that's what I like to hear. He's a quick trigger processor who reads keys at the snap and fires into gaps before blockers can get set. That's really good. Ball production is off the charts. Natural pass rush ability, coverage responsibilities at Texas were extensive, they say. He shows fluid hips in zone drops and gets good depth to his landmarks. So those are some of the things they say about him. Player comp for him, they said, was Jahad Campbell. That's somebody that really stood out as a player comp for him. Who plays for the Eagles, I believe. I think that's who Jahad Campbell plays for.
Yeah, that's the linebacker I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, so that's who they have as a player comp for him. I'm kind of excited for this kid. He's 6'3", 238 pounds. Supposed to be he runs a 4.5 40. That's not confirmed yet because we haven't had the combine, but that's what they're saying is his confirmed or possible estimated projected. Yeah, projected 40. 21 years old. What else can I tell you about him? I don't have his arm length or anything like that yet. So that we will have to wait.
This was actually another guy that, me and I talked to you about.
Yeah.
I like this guy a lot. In more pro comparisons I found, Bobby Wagner and Devin White.
Bobby Wagner. That's a good one.
Just exceptional athleticism, amazing speed, the blitzing ability that he's going to have, at this next level. I think you're going to be able to put him in a lot of situations, and he's going to flourish. Like he's a downhill guy. He again, like you were saying, makes the right reads, finds the lanes. Like it's.
Someone wants to know if we talked about Terrene York. Yes, we did. If you rewind the show a little bit, Steve brought him up. We definitely
did. We sure did.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of just going with what you're saying 100%, man. Like a premier person, they're saying premier playmaker at the next level is what a lot of people are saying about him. Some are actually arguing that he might be the best all-around linebacker in this draft. So very, very interesting, just who you read talking about the kid. Great prospect. I think anyone will be happy to have him at the next level.
Definitely. He was one of my day one possible guys that I wanted to talk about. I liked what I saw on tape. You always seem to be around the ball, making plays happen and whatnot. So definitely a prospect to watch. What do you think, Steve? Do you have any thoughts about Anthony Hill Jr.?
I mean, he's one of the top prospects of this class. Like I see people have him ranked above Sonny Styles at places. Like it's crazy, but I mean, again, it's another instinctual guy who's not afraid to tackle in open space and is not afraid to come downhill and take somebody's head off. Like it's all you can ask.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I agree with that. Any other linebackers that you guys have?
Nope.
All right. On to the defensive linemen now. All right. I'm going to throw out this guy. This guy.
I want to go last this time. Oh.
You want to go last or do you want me to go last?
I want to go last. Go ahead. You can go first.
Okay. All right. I'll go first. This guy that I want to talk about, he is here, let me Give me 1 second. One moment. I had him up for a moment and I wanted to say something about him, but let me find it first. Why can I not find my dude? I had it up here and it lost me. Okay. So this guy out of Illinois, you know, I'm a Big Ten guy, so I always give out shout out to the Big Ten. But this guy is also local to me. So I have to give him a shout out. He's a local athlete, Gabe Hackis. Gabe Hackis or Jackus, however you want to say it. They call him a genuine NFL caliber type of edge slash linebacker type player. He's 6'3", 260 pounds. Went to Fort Pierce Central High School. That's literally a mile down the road from me. I can't literally throw a football, but I like to joke that I could just toss a football over there because it's literally a mile away. He was a 3-star recruit with a wrestling background. So already I like him. You know, he's a freak athlete. He's super athletic. He did get he actually made the Bruce Feldman's 2023 freak list at number 69. Jackus has ridiculous strength, power, especially for a guy so young. The 6'3", 267 pounder bench press, 285 for 22 reps. 285 pounds for 22 reps. That's pretty good in my opinion. He looks like he's been lifting since middle school, says Illinois defensive tackle Johnny Newton. He can do it all. Gabe is a dog at wrestling. I like that. Dog at wrestling, relentless motor, natural power, exceptional burst, right? This guy definitely has the NFL look to him. They have him drafted around the 3rd round projection. I personally think after the combine, especially with his freak athletic ability and everything, I think he could climb up into the early 2nd round, to be honest. But that's a guy I really think you guys should watch. Definitely has an eye for the ball. You know, and really interesting what he does, how he can get through the gaps really fast, able to set the edge, go after the quarterback. Usually if he gets a hand on you, you're going to go down. Definitely a guy to watch. Definitely you should watch his tape. Yeah, that's a guy to really look into. Player comps. There's been several. Here, let me go ahead. What do you guys have to say about him? Let me bring up his actual player comp, not the one that's listed here. I don't like this one. So go ahead with what you guys have to say about him. Or am I just muted? Can you guys even hear me?
No, you're good.
No,
You're
we can
good.
hear you. I just don't know anything about him, to be honest.
That's what I was about.
Actually,
I don't want to bullshit, you know.
You would know about him.
You stumped me on that one, my guy. You really did. But I like the
Pulled that
sounds of
one.
it. I found my last guy will be. I'm going to go in reverse this time. So my last guy is going to be who I think is not going to make it out of the first round. But I'm going to start off with.
Before you do, hold on. Just hold on for me 1 second.
Where did you say that guy was out of that you're talking to? I'm sorry.
Illinois, bro.
Illinois.
You should know about this kid. He's right down the street from you.
I like that. I like that.
So he's grew up here in Florida, right? Went to Florida Central, which is literally Central, which is literally right down the road.
He's from Port St. Lucie.
Yep, Port St. Lucie. Some of his player comps: J.J. Watt,
Nice.
Bryce Huff, George Karlaftis.
Yep, George Karlaftis.
Yeah. They say he's a starting caliber 4-3 defensive end or a 3-4 outside linebacker. Ideal for teams needing an aggressive, power-driven edge rusher. I like that. And the reason I know our team with certain moves that we made recently, we're kind of lacking at edge. So that's kind of something that maybe we would consider. But anyone looking for either a 4-3 defensive end or a 3-4 outside linebacker, this might be your your kind of guy.
I mean, I like a guy who's slightly undersized but still generates sacks and turnovers.
One thing they say is that he lacks ideal bend, though. So that's something to really look at. I'm going to have to really watch his tape a little bit further to kind of see if that's an issue for me. But that's one weakness that they did mention. So.
Yeah, I was reading a little bit. They're saying he over relies on his power rush, not so much having this like wide variety of moves, and then his sometimes his motor drives him out of plays. He allows himself to get out.
And I think that's kind of why they have him in the third round, to be honest. I kind of think that's why he doesn't have a lot of different moves, like some of these other edge players that we've seen. So, but I wanted to give him a shout out. He's the hometown kid, so that's why. So go ahead, Mystic. I know you got somebody you really want to talk about. I apologize.
No. I was getting out of order there. You were perfectly fine. I thought you were going to say more about the guy. I don't want to mess up our takes here.
No worries. No worries.
So, again, I found it quite interesting. We talk about the talent that was at Penn State and how, basically the head coach didn't do justice about, some of the talent on that roster. I found this Zane Durant, 6'1", 288, out of Penn State, 4-year guy. He's a defensive lineman. They're saying mid to late rounds. High motor, speed, very powerful guy. The one downfall, they're saying at times you can kind of see like some tweener things. You're like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing type shit. But they're projecting him to have like a 4.6, 4.7 40 time. So this dude's going to be quick. Now, I don't know if I want to have another. I'm not saying for us personally. I'm just saying there could be some people out there who could benefit from a guy putting him with the right veterans, molding him in the right way. Very big dude. Looks like he's a very big but explosive, like quick, explosive guy. So something interesting to keep an eye on there.
Definitely. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, again, somebody I don't know a whole lot about. Y'all are getting some good ones. I'm writing some shit down over here.
What school did he go to?
Penn State.
Interesting. I'll have to write that one down myself, to be honest. Zane Durant, right?
That is correct.
Let's see what they're saying here. Another Florida native, too. 4-star athlete, Lake Nona High School.
I ain't gonna lie. Oh, he's a defensive tackle. Okay. I thought you were talking about an edge for some reason.
No. I said D lineman.
Yeah. We were talking about an edge, and then that's why it threw me off. He's a 3 tech.
Yeah, I do have an edge. I have an edge later. Don't worry, there's an edge in here. Don't worry.
No, that's fine. It just threw me off because I was like, man, like I don't know an edge. I was looking at all the edges. I don't. It just threw me off. It's all good.
So it says he shows flashes of dominant gap penetration, particularly evident in the Northwestern game, where he lived in the backfield and wrecked their entire offensive game plan. Interesting. Motor runs Scadling hot, consistently chases screens, pursues backside runs, and maintains his energy deep into the fourth quarter. I kind of like that. Versatile to align at multiple techniques given defensive coordinators chess piece potential. Can slide from 1 tech to 3 tech depending on situation and scheme. Interesting. This is a guy I'll have to look into.
Yeah, he's a 6'1" defensive tackle,
You guys are
290.
making me feel
So
good about finding these guys that you guys didn't know about. I'm just throwing that out there.
he's gonna have to put some weight on to play in the league, though.
Oh, for
290
sure,
is
for
the
sure.
carry for
Undersized.
me. Yeah, 32 and 2/8 inch arms. They have him projected to run a 4.6 40 though. That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That big, he'll be booking, man. At 6'1", 288, going 4'6". Damn.
Yep, 4.6. Interesting.
All right. You
You
want
got
me to go ahead and get the big fish out the way?
sure.
Ruben Bain. Yay. Though short for a defensive edge rusher, he's everything you want. I had questions about him all season, showing up in big moments, and damn, didn't he throw pie in my face. This man is a wreck shop. He is in on every single play. He is creating pressure. The question was, could he finish? And in the playoffs, he showed he could finish. This is a guy that, while in college, teams are completely setting their offense to look out for. They are running away from him. They are putting tight ends, running backs, everybody and their sister on him. I do think he could develop more as a pass rusher, but as an edge setter, which for me, I think is more important in a D end, the ability to stop the run so you can set up created pressures and a pass rush. He is your guy. I truly believe he will be a top 5 pick in this draft. I do wonder if he'll even compete at the combine. To be honest, he got the invite. He's gonna go. I'm wondering what his actual height is gonna be because he's listed 6'3", but he might be shorter than that. I'm wondering on his arm length, and we'll see if he decides to run a 40. But from a play on the field, this isn't a guy you can look at his measurables and say, yeah, I want him. But when you watch him on film, he just pops out.
Well, I'm gonna have to. You've already talked about some of the things that pops out. We know he has versatile alignment. Um, he's a winner of 4 state titles in high school, national championship game in college. Shows up when the lights are the brightest. I don't know about that. There was a good time throughout the season where those lights were really bright and he was needed, and that motor wasn't running. Right? You and I have had conversations about that. So let's not. I'm not going to really dive too far into what happened throughout this past season and what I saw. I'm going to go based on some of the things that I've read and based on what I've seen on tape. I kind of agree with. You mentioned his arm length. Reports are coming out that his arm length is under 31 inches. That may not be good against the much bigger offensive linemen in the NFL. NFL tackles with length are going to challenge him in ways that college football players couldn't. Gap discipline is shaky. He gambles. He leaves his lane early. Hands after contact need work. He had a missed tackle rate of 18.8%. And his counter moves are very limited, they say. Those are some of the weaknesses he has. But when he's on it, like you said, he's on it. He has the ability to bend the corner when he needs to, plays the run like he takes it personally. Speed to power is legitimate. Gets off his get off is special. Watch his first step against the Florida State or Ohio State game. I'll admit he definitely showed up in those games. So it's just the only thing I don't like about this kid is that in some of those moments when he was absolutely needed, he really wasn't there. Yeah, he was there specifically in the national championship game, but go look at the games prior to that. I think there was one game he had one tackle, and that was it. The whole game. I don't know. And granted, I'm complaining about stuff that he did in college, right? In the NFL, it could be different. I think the biggest concern I have regarding his size is probably his arm length. That's about it. Beyond that, my issues, I think, are more with his personality when it comes to what he does with his speed and everything and what he can actually be productive at. Sorry, I'm just being a hater, I guess. I'm just not really. He hasn't really impressed me yet. That's where I'm at, Steve. I apologize.
Never apologize for how you feel.
That's just how I feel about the player, man. I think he's. I'll be frank about it. I think he's slightly overhyped. Not even slightly. I think he's definitely overhyped. I personally, and I'm not saying this as a bias here. Fuck Ohio State, right? Yeah, I just said that. As a person scouting talent, I think he's one of these players that, yeah, he's strong and he's big, but he doesn't necessarily know how to use it, right? And because of that, I think he's overrated. That's where I'm at. What do you think, Mystic? I was harsh enough. I'm sorry.
Dang, we got positive Steve and negative Ali. Damn. No, I'm just playing. I kind of want him to do the combine stuff. I think you see, in my opinion, I think you see enough on both sides. I think there's enough on tape to show you he gets doubled and triple teamed at times. That's why he disappears sometimes, because literally they take him away. The offense's game plan is to literally take away Ruben Bain. I'd be one to look into what Mesidor's numbers were on the day those games when Ruben was down. Maybe Mesidor's were up, and that would kind of be that, hey, I'm impacting the game, but you don't see it type of thing. I think someone's going to benefit from getting him. I think at the next level, I think we just continue to see him get better this year. It was throughout the course of the year. Yeah, maybe a game he missed here and there. Like I said, maybe they just took him away. In my opinion, he got better through the course of the season. And maybe that's just a sign of things to come. I think this dude could easily take a step to the next level. But again, if all the credentials don't check out, we might not see the transition people want to see. I do think that both you guys are right in your respects of it could go either way. We could see him be an absolute monster at the next level. We can see him absolutely fall apart when people need him.
Okay, I kind of agree. I definitely agree with that. Look, for me, it was more of like, yeah, he beat up on the teams that he should have, but even in the important games, when the scouting report says that he shined when the lights were the brightest, right? Yeah, the national championship game, it was the brightest. He definitely shined.
And the Texas game.
And the Texas game. But did he shine against SMU or against Louisville? Right? What happened there? That's when he should have really shined, right? And he kind of went to sleep. He was like a big badass grizzly bear, right? In the beginning of the season, and he's like, "Oh, it's wintertime. I gotta go hibernate." And that was kind of my issue with what I saw. And I want to say, even during the college football playoff, there was a game where he only had like one tackle or something like that. And it was against Ole Miss. That's who it was. Ole Miss. He had one solo tackle, and that was it. That was it. His whole production, the entire game. And that was a close ass game. You know, granted, yeah, Miami won, but they really only won by what? Just over a field goal, like by 4 points, I think. So I just, if you're considered a top 5 player, as the people have told me all season long, right? And even the scouting report has him listed as a top 5 player. Don't you think that you should have the ability to break out, you know, to go beyond those double teams that you were saying that he got it used to being double teamed or whatever, right? If you're going to be a top 5 player, I should be able to see you be able to have some kind of move to get out of those double teams and still be a chess piece that's affecting the game. He did very good job in the national championship game. I'll give it to you. I just kind of felt that he was underwhelming in the Ole Miss game and some of the other games that I felt were important to the Miami Hurricanes season, right? You beat SMU, you beat LSU, you're playing for the ACC title. You know what I'm saying? You're not playing hoping to God that you have to go on this campaign to get into the college football playoff. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm kind of like underwhelmed throughout the whole season, and I've been kind of following Ruben Bain to see where he's at. We'll see. NFL could be a complete different animal. You know what I mean? It's a crapshoot. That's what the draft really is anyway. So it's a 50-50 chance. Either he's going to be really good or he's just another piece of dust in the wind. That's pretty much what it comes down to. So those are my thoughts on Ruben Bain. I'm sorry if I'm a hater, folks at home. I try to be positive on all these players, but he's just one I haven't been able to get positive this season. I don't know what it is. I am not. He's not like, oh my God. Like the guy I want to talk about next. And I'll go ahead and go to him because I honestly think he's up there with Ruben Bain. In fact, I think he could be one of the first tackles off the board, defensive tackles off the board. Lee Hunter, right? Yep. Big boy Lee Hunter. I'm really excited for Lee Hunter. Lee Hunter went to Texas Tech, 320 pounds. They have him listed at 6'3". I've heard he's 6'4", right? Very, very fast, fluid. What else I can tell you about him? His arm, he has over 34 inch arms, from what I understand, right? His length of his arms are over 34 inches, from what I've been told. Let's see. Wins at the point of attack, built like a fire hydrant with a 6'9" wingspan and a thick, powerful base that the NFL defensive line coaches love, right? Gets off the ball with surprising burst. He has like one of the best first steps I've seen that he takes. It's very explosive. And even though it may look like he's in slow motion, he's already steps ahead of where the offensive linemen are going or trying to get to, right? He does this thing where he takes the first step and he already has really good hands, moving it off. He has his eyes on the ball at all times. If you watch his tape, you're going to see him constantly looking to where the ball is, and he just finds the ball, instantly goes after it, and makes the tackle, right? He's one of those guys, if he gets a hand on you, you're going down, right? Creates real problems for offensive coordinators who need to account for his gap integrity, demonstrates legitimate pocket push ability. He's a bull rusher, driving guards and centers back into the quarterback's lap, wraps up and finishes tackles, carries 3 full years of meaningful production. So this isn't a one-hit wonder. This guy is a seasoned veteran at being a productive type of player. They have him going in the second round. I'm going to tell you, after his combine, I won't be surprised if this guy ends up being a first round talent. I personally think he's one of the better defensive tackles, in my opinion, in this draft. I know there's another guy at Ohio State, McDonald, that's really good. I like this guy almost probably just a little bit better, to be honest. And I think whatever team's looking for, a defensive tackle, this is your guy. That's what I have to say about him. What do you got to say to that, Mystic or Steve?
Yeah, no, this is a guy that I was also looking into when I was making the list, and I saw he was on your list, and I was like, well, that's all right.
I saw your guys, didn't I? Sorry.
Hey, no, it's all good. It's all good, man. Funny enough, I guess they nickname him the Fridge, so I think that's pretty cool. You get a pretty cool football nickname. Big shoes to fill, though, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, you can't go wrong with 6'4", 330, and the dude who has just insane athleticism. Like, he's gonna be one of those game wreckers. I expect us to start to see Lee Hunter's name pop up very consistently over the course of the next couple of seasons as he enters the league. I think he's one of those guys for sure. I'm with you. Combine will be all telling. You'll easily see this guy raise his stock, and I'll be surprised if he's not a first round pick. If he's a second round pick, you're getting a steal.
Yeah, I definitely I agree. I think it'll be a steal at a second round pick. Some NFL comparisons are Dalvin Tomlinson, Travis Jones, or Devon Hamilton. So,
Love it.
yep. Strength and run defense is really good. Consistency is the biggest thing, which I love about him. But I definitely think he could be like a mid first rounder. Maybe he climbs the charts. Maybe he pulls off an amazing combine and pro day. Who knows? Who knows? What do you think, Steve?
I think all three of us had this guy as an option on our list, and we all thought somebody else was going to talk about him. So I left him off my list.
100%.
Yeah,
This guy showed out during the practice of Senior Bowl. Like every clip you see of a offensive lineman getting bullied, it was him. Like this dude, his pass rush needs developed, but as a run-stopping 3-tech, this guy he's something. I don't think he'll make it to the second round. There are a lot of people talking about the Bears snagging him late in the first. So I like him. Like I don't think there's anything to not like about him. He went to UCF for 3 years, spent his first 3 years in college at UCF, and then transferred to Texas Tech, and just solid. I mean, 41 total tackles and 16 solo. Like a 5'2" projected 40 for a 320-pound defensive tackle is not bad. Like that's pretty damn decent. He's 24 years old. So by the end of his rookie contract, he's going to be up there. So I don't know, there's the concern of age, but for a prospect going into the draft, boy, this guy can play football.
Yeah, I think for me, it's more of like he's been so consistent. It's not like the guy, a guy that just got 1 year of solid production, right? This guy has been producing for the past 3 years like it's nothing. You know what I mean? And I like that about him. I think overall, if you're someone looking for a nose tackle, this is your guy. They call him the Fridge, like you said, or a fire hydrant, whatever you want to call it. All I know is when I see cars run into a fire hydrant, the front of that car looks like it's all smashed in. I'll take it. Get me a running back, run at this guy and see what happens, because he's going to stop that run in a heartbeat. Yeah. So I'll give me Lee Hunter. Any team, doesn't matter, whichever team needs him. I think he's definitely a good guy. Who do you got, Mystic? Or is it Steve? Whichever wants to go first.
I can go. It's fine. I'm not gonna quite get to my man. You guys almost made me jump my list here, but nope. I gotta wait. I might have found another gem that maybe slipped through the cracks for you two, and if it did, I'll be so surprised. But shout out to my Iowa peeps. You know, if you know, you know. Max Llewellyn, 6'5", 263. In my opinion, absolute complete edge. Has the pass rush repertoire, can set the edge. I just think, in my opinion, when you look at him and you look at his stats, he has times where he misses tackles, and that's really
I'm sorry. Who does he play for?
he's out of Iowa.
Iowa.
He's the edge out of Iowa.
Okay.
Right now, he's a projected 3rd to 5th round pick. High motor, again, very refined pass rush skills, spin move, hand battles, swim moves, whatever you need. This dude has it, and that's what I like about him. He flashed out at the Senior Bowl, literally spun right by a dude. The dude didn't even know what to do. He just was like, "I'm done," and it was an easy sack on the quarterback. So definitely someone to watch for in the combine. Again, I like what he brings. If you just want one of those dudes who's going to come out and just do the job for you, set the edge, take care of the run, rush the quarterback. No, don't over pursue. Dirty work kind of guy. I think that's what you get in Max. I think a late pick would be good, but if you see him start to kind of shine with his combine, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he ends up being like an early 3rd round type of guy.
I'll have to take a look, man. I didn't know who he was. I'll have to watch the tape and see what I can find out about him. Any thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, again, I'm with you. This is Mystic in his Iowa gems.
Damn right. Oh.
He's one of those guys I gotta, if you know, you know. And I definitely don't know.
But that's the thing about this, right? That's the great thing is nobody knows every prospect. Like
Yeah.
and if you say you do, you're lying. No, like
For real.
this is why NFL teams have whole 20-man rostered draft rooms for this.
True.
Their scout teams are for this reason.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they
let
have
me get down a little more,
down.
and then you guys can transition to your next piece, since it's one of my dudes. Obviously elite speed and agility, obviously strong pass rush. Like I said, 6.5 sacks in 25 at Iowa. Again, they question the anchor at times, him being able to anchor, if he has people coming at him, whatever. And that high missed tackle rate is really the big concern about him. That's what's kind of have him going up and down the boards. But everything else, size, what he brings to the team, people are definitely happy that he's described as a mean and aggressive player. So, again, what you want at that position. What you got, Steve? Who's your next guy?
All right, I haven't shut up about him, so we might as well put it up on the actual show here. Mason Rager out of Wisconsin. I affectionately have been renaming him Mason Van Ginkel. If you know, you know.
I love
6'5",
it.
240 is projected to run a 4.7 as an edge. He needs weight put on, but I'm not concerned. He's had 5 sacks his last 2 seasons in college. He is a projected late round, 6th round pick. This man dominated. I mean, absolutely dominated the East West Shrine Bowl. He was given the Defensive Player of the Game award. He had 2 sacks and a strip sack. He was the reason that they were even close to even having a chance in that game. Like, that man was going crazy. This is a guy who he missed a year in college due to injury, but it's the only injury he had. It's the only one. It just happened. He was at Illinois, and the consistency from, or not Illinois, sorry, at I don't know why I said Illinois, Louisville. The consistency at Louisville just moved to Wisconsin. Now, again, he's not going to pop off the page and the stats. He's got 5 sacks, 18 tackles, solo 32 total. This is, you said your Jim from Iowa. This kid is my Jim from Wisconsin. He is going to be the Andrew Van Ginkel 5th, 6th round pick that in 4 years you're like, why didn't we pay this kid? He has it. He has the pass rush. He has the edge set. It's all there. He just is at Wisconsin.
With Coach Fickle, former Ohio State coach. I like it. I like Big Ten, linebackers and defensive linemen and stuff like that. I like the fact that, especially in Wisconsin, I know they play in very cold weather, so I like that about him. He's a guy definitely, it could be definitely a diamond in the rough, if you want to call it that. So I'm kind of excited to see. I need to know a little bit, watch a little bit more tape. I heard about him and watched a little bit, but I need to watch more tape and really read into his pros and cons, but he's definitely an option. What do you think, Mystic?
Yeah, I mean, again, Big Ten, I'm all for it. I've liked the linebackers that Wisconsin has put out here in the last couple of years since we saw Van Ginkel and things like that. Wisconsin has products every so often. If you really pay attention to, they do drop some really good prospects every so often. So it's nice to see something like that. And if you're telling me, Van Ginkel 2.0, that's high motor, high IQ, I'm all for it.
Definitely interesting. Any other thoughts before we move on to the next player?
Other than the
okay.
one upside of him too, it's a guy with a lot of college snaps, and I think it doesn't get talked about enough. Like the number of games you play and snaps. Like, this is a dude who's played 43 college games and taken over 1,270 snaps at his position. That's just experience you just can't learn. Like, you have to learn. You can't just know how guys bend, how guys attack, which you are weak at. Like, this kid has something, and I get one of these guys every year that's just, when you watch him, it's like, man, there's something there. I just don't know how to explain it to somebody that without just like, watch this.
Interesting. Any other final thoughts, Mystic?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Well, I don't want to say this guy is the next Andrew Van Ginkel, because that was a really interesting comparison. But I will say, as usual, Ohio State has put out some really interesting defensive ends over the years. And here's another guy to use as an example. And I haven't really talked about Ohio State this entire time. None of my players were Ohio State players except for this one. I saved it for last. Caden Curry, right? Edge player out of Ohio State. He is 6'3", 260 pounds. His frame is, based, if you look at his production, you're thinking, oh, this guy is like the prototypical type of edge you want. But because of his frame, he's considered to be undersized, right? That's the knock on him. But let's talk about Caden Curry a little bit more to introduce you to who he is. Caden Curry arrived at Ohio State in January of 22 as one of the most decorated defensive linemen in Indiana high school history. The Greenwood native terrorized opponents at Center Grove, where he piled up nearly 300 career tackles, 83 and a half tackles for loss, and 28 sacks, while leading the Trojans to back-to-back Class 6A state championships and a remarkable 28-0 record over his final 2 prep seasons. That's amazing, right? Was a 4-star athlete, the whole 10 yards. If you look at what he does, he gets off the ball like his hair is on fire, they say. Consistently winning snap count battle with a first step that puts offensive linemen on their heels from the jump. His pass rush ability is legitimately elite. Run defense matches his pass rushing powers, demonstrating the discipline and physicality to set the edge and collapse running lanes from multiple alignments. Hands are violent. I love violent hands, and active throughout his rush, showing advanced technique and hand-to-hand fighting, and allows him to stack and shed blocks with purpose. Motor never quits on any snap, whether he's chasing down a screen pass 15 yards down the field or fighting through double teams on a run play away from his gap. He never stops. Possesses legitimate versatility to line up at end in odd fronts or kick inside as a tackle. He can play inside or outside. Spin move is legitimate counter weapon. Some of the knocks he has, they say he's undersized, as I already mentioned. Needs to add more functional strength to his lower half to consistently hold ground at the point of attack, is what they say. But if you watch this kid play from day one, even when he was not a day one starter, you could tell he had something special. He had the motor, he had the skills. He was always somewhere at the point of attack, affecting the play at the line of scrimmage somehow. He's strong. I'll even say he's bullish. I really like the kid. Check out Caden Curry. From high school and even in college, he's definitely been a productive player. Some of his NFL comparisons, let's see who they say actually. Comparison. They say his comparison would be Sam Hubbard. Sam Hubbard played for Bengals, right? I think.
That does sound right, yes.
Yeah, Sam Hubbard is who they say that's who he resembles. High motor, technical. It's a very interesting player. Definitely check him out. I think he could definitely be as high as a day 2 guy, to be honest. They have him projected more, I think, in the 4th round, but I think it could be as high as a day 2. Probably 3rd round. That's kind of where where I have him at, to be honest. So definitely check him out. Watch his tape. I think he's one of those players. Definitely really good in pass rush. He's really good in both pass rush or even in the run game. I think he does both very well. I'm just enamored by all the amount of production that he's put out all the way through high school and into college. So, but 6'3", 260. I think for edge they like 6'4" kind of guys. So he's just an inch short, but I think he has the right body weight, to be honest. What do you guys think?
6'4", 280s generally, what you're looking for an edge, between 260 and 280.
I mean, Van Ginkel, who you brought up earlier, he's 6'4" and I want to say he's like 242 pounds. He's not even 260 pounds.
Mm-hmm. That's why he was a late round pick. And he used to be middle. He was also a middle linebacker.
This is true. He was playing the inside, and then they moved him to the outside where he really performed. I just think that I think he has that type of motor that he could play a Van Ginkel style of football. Even though he doesn't have that extra inch on him, to be honest.
See,
You
Gink makes it work because his bend at the point of the attack on when taking the edge is so unique. Like his ability to get low, like he literally looks like, I don't know, like, and it has nothing to do with football, but like for people who play Call of Duty, like slide canceling, like he goes into a crouch and slides under the offensive tackle. Gink really developed that. Like if this guy can create that from that size, he would be disgusting.
yeah, definitely agree with that. What do you think, Mystic?
Honestly, didn't know a whole lot about the guy. Here, kind of just I saw his name. I thought about kind of doing some look into him. But yeah, I just have to do some more research on him, just kind of see what the tape says to me. But could be one of those guys that, like I was talking about, could be like a chip on the shoulder. He could be told, you might not be big enough for the next level. It could fuel him. You just never know. Be one of those.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree. All right, who's the next player?
All right. Now
Prospect.
I can get into the fun stuff. So I stumbled across this guy today. I want to go back and watch some more tape, but the things that I found out, definitely I'll be surprised if this dude's not a top 10 pick. Top 15 for sure. Peter Woods, defensive lineman out of Clemson, 6'3", 315. The dude is 20 years old. He benches 410 and squats 700 pounds. He is a freak athlete. I've seen comparisons to Javon Hargraves, Jeffrey Simmons. I've had a couple of people even go as far as saying they see shades of Aaron Donald in this kid. Like, he's just an absolute wrecker. Just overpowers people with his strength, high motor, versatile enough to play across the line. I saw he can do 0 to 5. When it comes to the techniques, like I didn't know anything about the dude, like I said, until I started looking, and I was like, whoa. Improvement would just be converting pressures into sacks. Like, he gets there. He doesn't always finish when it comes to sacks, but run stopper for sure. Elite run stopper at the point of attack. So it'd just be something to add to the game. They're saying top 10 to 15 pick, I think, after the combine. Look, if the numbers come out and I'm seeing what I think I'm going to see from this dude at the combine, I wouldn't be mad if we took him at 11.
Some things I've read about him, his hip flexibility is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I'm reading it right now. It says defy the law. It defies the laws of physics at 315 pounds. I've been talking about violent intent or plays with violent thoughts or whatever, right? This guy's hand strike, they're saying, causes concussive force. They say to watch the Georgia game, you'll see players being jolted backwards with every hit, right? I like what I've seen so far. And you mentioned wrecking ball. I like that. I definitely can see that happening with this type of player. Athletics testing numbers are freakish, it says. He has a verified 4.8640. I don't know about that. I'll have to see what he does at the combine. 490-pound bench press, a 700-pound squat, 33-inch vertical at over 310 pounds of mostly lean mass. Yeah. I like what I see so far, Mystic. Very good pick, to be honest.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So when you watch him, you can see, and they pointed out when people talk about him, his first step as a defensive tackle is different. You see he's in the face of the center or the guard quite quickly. The problem is doing so, he takes himself out of place. You'll see him get washed out of a gap when he really shouldn't be. He has the strength, he has the quickness. It's just he over pursues, or I don't want to say over pursues. He isn't patient enough in the way he attacks gaps, and it gets him washed out. That being said, that's the only knock you can have on him. That's it. Everything. He's a run defender. His pass rush needs work, but he's a run defender. That dude is a tackler. He's what you want from a defensive tackle. Let's be honest. Like you said, he could play 0 through 5. I think he'll play a 3-tech mainly in the league. I don't know how much he'll play like a true 0. But I could see him playing a lot of 3-tech and being pretty damn disgusting. Him next to Chris Jones with Kansas City would be a nasty duo.
Yeah.
I have a question. Are you concerned with maybe his, I don't want to say lack of production, but a drop off in his production compared to the previous years?
That's what I need to look into. I'm kind of curious, like, what that's about.
Well, I mean,
You know-
I'm looking at like his numbers right now, right? So in 2023, he had 26 total tackles, 13 of them were solo, 13 assists with 1 forced fumble, right?
Yep.
2024, he had 26 tackles again, 18 of them were solo, 8 of them were assists, and he had 3 sacks and a forced fumble, right? 2025, he had 30 total tackles. Only 9 of them were solo, but he had 21 assisted tackles, right? 1 pass deflected and 2 sacks. So yeah, his sacks game he kind of kept. He didn't have the forced fumble, but it looked like he was getting help at tackling a lot or helping others tackle. I'm just curious, like, should I consider that if let's say I'm sitting at home looking at players and trying to evaluate a guy, and I'm looking at their production. If there's definitely drop, hold on real quick. If there's definitely a drop at the solo tackles and you see a lot more assists, my question to you guys, should I be worried about that? Or could be just the defensive scheme? Like, can you tell me a little bit about, should I even be worried about it at all?
That was my concern looking at his production, and that's why I was like, to your point, I didn't know if it was a scheme thing. I don't know 100% what it would be, but I do know that Clemson had kind of a weird down year. So I don't know. I don't know how I want to approach that. If we're looking at numbers, and I'm being honest, it's not as bad as Chop Robinson. But
I don't know. I didn't look at Chop Robinson.
Well, you're talking about a defensive tackle versus an edge rusher.
And that's right.
True.
And that's also what I was going to say for people that are like, oh, he's only had like 5 sacks in 35 games or this or something. Like he's a defensive tackle. Like he's a really good run stopper. We're not asking him to go in and be a run stopper and elite pass rusher as a rookie. Like go in and clog some holes and learn, dude. Like I think putting him next to Kenneth Grant would only make Kenneth Grant better. And that might be your duo in the middle there for a little bit.
Who were the comps you gave him? Aaron Donald, right? Aaron Donald?
That was one of them I found. Also, Javon Hargrave and Jeffrey Simmons. Similar size, explosive ability to move inside and out would be the Simmons comparison. And they're just saying
Aaron Donald's college his career college stats. I'm looking at Aaron Donald right now. Bear with me a second.
Yeah, I was going to say, before we get too far from it, I wanted to point out too, and it was said in the chat, and I was going to say it, of his tackles, his 26 tackles he had in 2024, 8.5 of his solo tackles were for loss.
Oh, that's actually something good to know.
Living in the
again, also, that's why I said what I said about his pass rush. A lot of the reason that he had this quote drop off again, he's so quick off the line, he gets washed out of plays. It's just gap integrity, and that's why
Yep.
like they were taking advantage of him. He had enough snaps on film. Other teams started taking advantage of it and letting him get off and then washing him out of the play.
Mm.
Like you know, like we've seen it. You're right. The defensive tackles, their pass rush off the line is really good because they have that quick initial twitch and they come off the line, and then you look back at the play and the running back running right through their lane because he jumped right into the center and the guard and the center just pincer him and move him out of the play because he jumped off too quick.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Well, very, very interesting. All right. Steve, do you have anyone last person that you have?
Well, I was going to talk about the second generation edge out of Florida, but I want to highlight Caleb Banks. I'll start with my concern of him because everything else about him is a prototype for his position. My concern is his inconsistency as a player. And it's the same issues Kenneth Grant has. He's tall and he plays high at the point of the attack, and it gets him in trouble. That's his biggest problem. He's 6'6", 330 pounds at defensive tackle. He has a 35-inch arms and 10 and 6'8" inch hands. So he's just lengthy. Oh, we lost my stick. He's lengthy, strong, wide, but his tackling is just, it needs a lot of work. He needs work. I see a lot of people projecting him to go in the second round. I don't even know if he'll go there, maybe just because of his prototypical size and build he might. But he's like a third round prospect for me. But if you can develop him as a player, you could be looking at the center of your defensive line for his entire career and just a monster as a human.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I mean, during the Senior Bowl week, he showed development scouts that he was hoping, what they were hoping to see. They said he won multiple one-on-one reps as a pass rusher. His step fake and slap combination is very it creates legitimate pressure opportunities, they say. Issues that they have with him is his pad level and tackling technique will frustrate NFL coaches, they said. Those are some of the things they say about him. I definitely see what you're saying, though. Very interesting. The guy's, he's 6'6", 330 pounds?
Yep.
35-inch arms, bro. Those are massive.
Uh-huh.
Mystic, what are your thoughts on this kid? Caleb Banks.
Caleb Banks. Yep. Nope. Don't know him. Yeah, my stuff froze so bad that I thought you guys had stopped talking for a minute, and then I realized that my stuff froze and had to reload everything. So I didn't really hear anything besides the back end of what you said. But yeah, I'm not necessarily sure who that is. But from what you just said, you said how what does that do? What is his arms in reach?
35
Yeah.
inches.
Yeah, he's 6'6", 330.
And he's an edge or a lineman?
Lineman.
He is a defensive tackle. He plays for Florida.
Yeah, why do I get
I don't know who they are.
oh God, who's the guy for the Eagles? Jordan Davis?
Jalen Carter?
Yeah, there you go.
Or Jalen Carter's is Jalen Carter the dude from Georgia? Or are you talking about the other dude from Alabama?
One of those big
Jordan.
dudes who's like, I think he's a D lineman, but he looks like he's real athletic for being a fucking defensive lineman. Like he looks like he could be an
300
edge.
pounds.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm gonna need to watch some tape. And where's he out of?
He's the defensive tackle from Florida. His problem
That's
is
what you said.
because to reiterate for you, because you weren't here, and this is the concern for me. I have him projected as a 3rd round pick
Okay.
because he needs development. They have him projected most consensus have him as a 2nd round pick. He can't tackle for shit.
Oh wow, so another high tackle miss guy. Oh man.
Yeah, but a lot of his problem is he plays way too high on the pads because he's
he's a big dude.
6'6". He's
Yep.
fucking 6'6".
Yeah.
And he tries
Trust
to
me.
dive tackle a lot.
Some of the NFL comparisons, just so you know, that they have him at, they have him compared to Jordan Davis because of his immersive
who it is.
size.
That's what I was thinking of. Thank you.
They also have him compared, and I don't know which Phillips they're talking about, but they have him comparison to Jordan Phillips because of his gap shooting power. And we know there's multiple Jordan Phillips out there, so I'm not sure which one they're referring to. And they also compare him to
the original, the one that was with us that went to Buffalo.
Yeah, I think that's probably who they're referring to. But they compare him to, and I apologize if I mess up his first name, Gervon Dexter. Gervon Dexter.
You got me.
I don't know who he plays for. Oh, he plays for Chicago. Defensive tackle for Chicago. Who also went to Florida and is a 6'6", 310-pound defensive tackle. Yeah. Interesting guy. I definitely understand what you're saying, Steve. Anyway, bottom line, it is the time for the bottom line. So we're gonna have to get into that real quick. Yeah. So the bottom line, the combine has come. It's, less than 2 weeks away. The start's like a week and a half away, actually a week away from today. And it's going to be really interesting seeing these defensive linemen and linebackers. I'm really excited. Landon Barton. Landon Barton. I'm really interested in him. I'm really interested in Lee Hunter, see how well he does. The kid out of Fort Pierce or Port St. Lucie, Gabe Jackus, I think is how you say his last name. If I ever meet the guy, I'm going to ask him, hey, how do you say your last name, man? Really need to know that. But it seemed like an interesting prospect. I'm really excited to see how well you guys do, especially the kid from Iowa and the Wisconsin kid. I'm really interested to see what he puts out at the combine. What are you guys' final thoughts on everybody?
Well, I'm kind of where you're at. I really enjoyed putting these two lists together and just kind of doing some little deep dives into some of these players. And honestly, so I'm curious to see how some of these late round guys, who got the combine invites and stuff like that, going to go and improve their draft stock. And maybe some of these guys who are maybe on the back end of the first round, see if they can push themselves into, mid to early first rounders. Like, I don't know, man. I'm with you. There's a lot of prospects that are intriguing me. Definitely what the guy at Illinois that was brought up. I'm looking forward to him. I'm obviously looking forward to Carson at linebacker for Iowa. The dude had an 83 tackle season when he became, a first time starter. So that's crazy. I'm curious to see what his intangibles look like,
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm curious to see what his intangibles look like as well. I'm really interested in this kid from Wisconsin that Steve was talking about. I'm gonna go look at his tape next. So I'm going to do that right after the show. But yeah, Steve, what are your final thoughts?
The more I dove into, mainly because we're talking about defense, a lot of defensive line and linebackers,
Mm-hmm.
this class fits what the league is doing right now a lot. There's been a emphasis more in the last 2 years where teams seem to be shifting back to being a running teams, like not just us, but Buffalo,
Mhm.
Kansas City, the San Francisco, obviously the West Coast systems everywhere, right? So this draft, like I said to you earlier, this is a lot of run defense. A lot of these guys specialize in stopping the run. This fits what the league needs. Guys that specialize in that. And doing that, especially in the edges, it allows you to create pressure and sacks with other players on your defense. I really like this class for defense. Maybe defensive tackles a little, like I said, paper thin, but edges, linebackers, and then when we finally get into the corners and DBs, I even like their run defense in this class. So I'm very excited to see how the combine goes with some of these athletes and how they handle some of these drills.
Yeah, I'm really interested. You and me both know there's a guy, especially in the DB room, that I'm really excited to see what he puts out and what type of performance he has at the combine. Um, so I'm really excited for it. Um, I know we'll probably talk more about it next Tuesday, but one class I'm really not excited for this year, I don't know what it is. I'm not really excited for the quarterback room at all. This year's quarterback room doesn't seem very exciting. I think I'm more excited for 2027 when it comes to quarterbacks, but that's just me though.
I
I,
agree on you.
I only think there's maybe like two, maybe three quarterbacks that I don't even think there's three. I think there's only two quarterbacks in this draft that are halfway decent. You know what I'm saying? One of them, is going to be the number one pick, but beyond the second guy is the question. It's like I'm just not impressed.
I think there's one guy, maybe two, who are definitely first round prospects. I think everybody else is you're if you can develop them, there are traits galore, and that's all they are, traits.
Mm. Yeah, definitely true. Definitely true. Um, Mystic, you got any thoughts?
No, I don't really got much left. I appreciate everyone swinging in and hanging out with us for the 2 hours tonight, listening to what we got to say about the prospects. And again, if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, hit the notifications, and look for us every Tuesday. We appreciate you.
Definitely. Next Tuesday, we'll talk more about DBs, tight ends. We'll even probably throw quarterbacks and wide receivers in there. I would say we're probably going to have a lot more to talk about wide receivers and running backs than we do quarterbacks, to be honest. But we'll talk about more about it. But until next Tuesday, make sure you hit the like button. Check out some of our other content we've thrown out. And you all have a wonderful night. And until next time, see you then.